to From the Press Box, the Stark County edition. I'm Joe Frollo of the Repository.
I'm Chris Easterling of the Independent.
Chris, you saw a great game this last weekend up in Parma. St. Ignatius beat Massillon 26-20. It was tight throughout, some big plays at the end. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, first off, this was kind of the measuring stick for Massillon. I mean, obviously they were 5-0 coming into the game. They had, but they really hadn't played much of anybody except for GlenOak, and so people had a lot of questions of how good Massillon was. And I'll be honest, they impressed me more in losing to St. Ignatius, a very good St. Ignatius team, than they had the previous 3 weeks in beating Stowe, Firestone, and Garfield. They fell behind early, 14-0 to Ignatius. It looked like Ignatius was going to do what they seem to do every year against Massillon, and that's blow the Tigers out. But Massillon answered. They responded. They came back. They took the lead in the third quarter. They had used their big play offense again with guys like Devin Smith, Justin Olak, and Alex Winters. Made the plays. It just, it just came down to a matter of Ignatius. Couldn't stop Ignatius' running game when they needed to, and also got a little benefit of a defensive penalty against them that nullified an interception. It probably would have sealed the game. So for them, I mean, it was an outstanding performance for them, really, save for the fact they got the loss.
Well, things don't get any easier for Massillon this week. They go to Steubenville, one of the hardest places in Ohio to win. The Big Red are good every year, despite the size of the school they are. Massillon has to put Ignatius in the rear view as quick as they can. You know
what? I think this is a perfect team to follow a loss to Ignatius with, is because instead of playing somebody, kind of the little sisters of the poor, you're playing a team you have to be focused for. You have to be ready to play because. So I think it's going to help the Tigers. I think they'll be ready to play. There's a lot of excitement around the community to play this game because of the history between the two schools. So I think it's going to be an outstanding opportunity for them to rebound from the Ignatius loss.
Well, let's move on to the Federal League, where GlenOak is finding itself atop alone in the Federal League. They're the only unbeaten team in league play. They've got Lake this week. They're coming off a big 14-0 win over McKinley. Brionte Dunn had 182 yards and a touchdown on 39 carries. I mean, he's really become their workhorse. Lake's a team, though, that you can't fall asleep on. They're the smallest school in the Federal League, but that doesn't make them the weak sisters on any year.
Absolutely not. They're tough, they're physical, they're going to play hard-nosed defense every year. Jeff's going to have that team ready to play. And I know that it was Perry who struggled a little bit, especially since they got into the Federal League. But you look at what they did last week in beating Perry. I think Lake's starting to come into their own, and I think they're going to give GlenOak a challenge. I see this to be a great defensive struggle. It may come down to just which defense gives up the big play, gives up that one crucial third down conversion or whatever that comes and decides this outcome.
I don't think anybody at this point of the season doubted that Louisville could be 7-0. But they've got a matchup this week against a Carrollton team that was 0-10 last year. And the Warriors are, I'm sorry, not 7-0, 6-0. I'm jumping ahead of myself there, 6-0. And Carrollton is sitting there at 6-0. For Carrollton, they got a quarterback named Johnny Loudermilk, who just seems to have brought that team together, and they've rallied around last year's struggles. On the other side, Louisville, been banged up most of the year. Bob Swigert, their quarterback, down last week. Another person steps up new, Chad Neff, runs for 172 yards and 3 touchdowns. Carrollton, the surprise. Louisville, the different people every week. I mean, how do you see these kind of teams going?
I think this is a game a lot like, for Carrollton, this is a game a lot like Ignatius was for Massillon. This is going to be kind of your, are we really as good as we think we are? And there's nobody that's going to doubt that Louisville's as good as they, even with the injuries. That's just a solid program top to bottom. You're seeing the depth that a program like that has. Carrollton's going to have to, the onus is on Carrollton to prove themselves. Louisville, they've proven themselves. They've proven they can replace guys. So if Carrollton can answer the, kind of answer the bell and show up, I think this is going to be, they have a chance to really pull the upset.
Well, we got a lot of big games this weekend. We're heading into the playoff stretch. We'll keep you right here on From the Press Box every week at FridayNightOhio.com. Once again, I'm Joe Frollo of the Repository.
I'm Chris Easterling of the Independent.